Hello and welcome to Claire's World. I am Claire and today I am doing something I haven't done before, but that some of you guys have been asking for, so I wanted to try and see what you think of it. Basically, I'm going to be sharing the actual unretouched audio of one of my sessions. And specifically, I have selected an excerpt from my last session, the BQH session, the 9th BQH session or session I had, which happened to be BQH. I've had a few qhht sessions as well. And this was the very initial bit that basically explains the very first image that normally source of the 25th is giving me as I'm being induced. So this clip will start where basically Lorrayne, in this case, my practitioner, where Lorrayne is asked, are we connected to the 25th? And once we confirm that, then normally she will ask for initial messages. And this is generally the most important thing the 25th wants me to know right at the start of a session. So I'm going to be sharing this with you. I'm excited to do this. I would love to hear what you think. I actually was going to share the video as well, but the way that we record videos, so we record these sessions two different ways, both on Zoom and through my iPhone. And the way that we record the video, which is through Zoom, was just the audio was just awful. And so I couldn't use it. So I was going to show you as well, although there's nothing interesting going on. It's just me laying down on my bed. And sometimes you have a cat or two crashing the video, as always. You guys have seen my videos. There's always some cat energy going on. And so it wouldn't work as well. So hopefully you do enjoy this clip, and let's listen to it together.
There is an image they're showing me, and they're showing me that there is chaos, like a swirl, like a fast spiral, a swirl in the matrix. It's almost like the game has been reworked, and everything is spinning very fast. And because of this, the game has now changed. And so there are a few things that we have to rework here. And actually, some essences are coming back into their bodies to help us rework this. Not a lot. They're telling me that it was 80% of people had already left from the second group, but now it's 76. Actually, some of the essences have come back, and have come back into their bodies because they had left. They're telling me that 10 to 15% had left their bodies behind. 10 to 15% of the group that had gone with the aliens had left the body behind. And so there is this percentage now that this 4% that has come back into the body. They're trying to help us finish something. There is something that must be done now. And what does it need to be done? I don't know why it has to be done. What has changed? So we did not believe that this was feasible. We did not believe that it would be of interest even, but that it would be feasible to finish certain things in a 3D way. But now we realize that it is, and that it will actually help give closure. And so there are certain things from a 3D perspective that we want to see. We actually want to see. And this has come on the backs as an effect, as a consequence of the new spin that's been given to the matrix, where things have accelerated. And because things have accelerated and all the games have been reworked, and set up with a new vigor or with a new impulse, this has actually affected us too. And because of that, a lot of us who were just ready to leave no matter what we're leaving behind, now we are wanting to see what really could be done from a 3D perspective. And this is part of something that we will bring. It will be a big lesson for many of us moving forward. And in fact, we did not think that some of the SSs would come back, and they've actually volunteered to come back and help us finish this. Not that many, but still, and but still some. We did not expect this. So this is because I know you are all concerned with the timeline. The timeline has shifted. We actually don't have a clear idea of how long this is going to take now, but it's not too long. It's not going to be a decade or years and years, but we don't actually have a clear timeline at this time. We would recommend to check back in as things progress, but it just depends on how quickly we can accomplish these things. And we are referring to things that have to do with, we are actually seeing the government's weakening. And we are thinking of, for example, the Dutch protests and so on. And well, this can be accomplished at an essence level. We are actually interested now, for the sake of all of us, but mostly for the sake of some of us who need to see this. We are mostly interested in seeing this played out in a 3D way. And therefore we are coming to an apex to a climax, if you like, of what the 3D, what this reset, what the darkness basically is coming to clash against the essences, whoever's left saying no. And that's where we are right now.
Thank you. Is this to assist those going with the off-worlders as well as those going to New Earth? I know the off-worlders are going to be going on into civilizations and other games. Is this information that they need to assist them as they go forward?
Actually, all of us who are left behind, so yes, including the people going to New Earth, there was always a question of lack of closure because it didn't really matter, as in a lot of things didn't matter. We have discussed the fact that many are not interested in seeing governments collapse completely, because we are just not interested in rebuilding, in focusing on rebuilding something new. Our attention is mostly gone from this plane. At the same time, now because of the new impulse that has changed all the games within the Matrix, not just the game here, something new has come up that is of interest to several essences. And so now the essences are saying, well, we know we're taking this down. We are still taking this down. That's still the end game for us. Nothing has changed. I mean, most of our fellow brothers and sisters have moved on already. We're not interested really as essences to live in a world of NPCs. But at the same time, we have and also we are not interested, obviously, necessarily going through the entire collapse, because it would take quite a bit of time to rebuild everything, as basically the old infrastructure is crumbling. There are not even enough people to fill positions that to maintain the infrastructure in place. And but at the same time, this new impulse that was intended by Source, was given by Source, has now caused this acceleration, and has caused, if you like to call it that, a twist, a tweak in the game, a new spin-off of the game, where some people are now thinking, oh wow, this is new, so what can we do with this? This new experience is not something that's going to keep us occupied for a very long time. We don't want you to think that the plan has changed or that this is really going to make a huge difference. However, for some of the essences, and not just the ones going with the aliens, this is now becoming actually interesting again. And if you've noticed, there are people now talking about these things. Also, the fact that Q has come back. This is not so much because of Q, but it's showing you that there are people who actually are thinking, oh, wow, there's still something fun now happening here. So people who were bored and have been bored all of a sudden have this new interest in what's going on here at a 3D level. And this is a reflection, again, of this new version of the game. And again, it's not a new version as in we are restarting a new game. We are not restarting a new game here. However, all of a sudden, you know, it's almost like you have a line, a straight line, and all of a sudden you have a twist in this line. It's a plot twist. And so this is what we are wanting to explore this. We are not going to take it again as far as see everything collapse in some kind of dystopian future where nobody can get anything. We are not going to explore the dark sides of it like as the dark would have liked us to do, like, for example, food shortages, that kind of thing. We are not. The essences that are left are not going to allow this. The essences that are left have very high vibration. And so we are just wanting to see what we are capable of doing at a 3D level in terms of manifestation, taking down this entire system that's been going on forever. We finally, basically, the light is finally getting the upper hand. And we are kind of enjoying it. This is a first for us in a very long time. And we are seeing, we're just having fun with it. So even though we do want to go, we decided that it was worthwhile to stay a little bit longer to see this play out.
We can savor it for just a little while.
That is correct. And a little while again, it is not clear at this time how long the essences will savor it. It's not going to be, again, we're not talking about years and years. But it might be a week, it might be 2 weeks, it might be a few months. It is not quite clear right now. It really is up to the essences. As we said, we did not expect at all that some essences that had gone already would come back. And again, it's a small minority, but this was unexpected that a few essences would actually come back to see this through. And this is the beauty of this game, is that at the end of the day, it is up to the essences. Everybody can do whatever they want. Now, a lot of the essences that have left have absolutely no more interest left in this. And they see no point in coming back to then leave again. They have no interest. They've moved on. They have no interest, even though there is a little bit of a more interesting twist to this than what everything has felt like for the past many years, which was just like a slow descent into madness. It's not really enough of a stimulus for them to change the plan. However, for a few of the essences had just recently left, they were like, you know what, let's see, we do want to see more. We're going to want to get more of a closure. We do want to see where this was going to go, was going to take us. And in terms of the changes we put in place here. At the same time, again, this is not changing any long-term plans or any, again, at the end of the day, most essences are not interested in coming back here. And really, there are very few essences even incarnating here at this time. We've said this, essences have not really interested in coming here anymore. We are still waiting to leave. So nobody's really meaning to recover this game. But as it stands, it's kind of become a little bit interesting again. It's almost like you're in a hospital and you have those computer screens that show the, almost a flat line. Every once in a while you have a little bit of an uptick in the line. We didn't expect this, but this is what's happening. We've had a little bit of an uptick where we're like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. Because you can probably relate to this. Many of us have felt that really nothing interesting and worthwhile has been going on here for a long time. it was all the same, more the same, more the same, and we weren't going to get any closure. We already know we're taking this down. What's the point? Except that all of a sudden, things have started moving very, very quickly, and we have explained why that is. And all of a sudden, some of us are like, oh, wow, this is not as boring as it has been. And so all of a sudden, we're kind of like, oh, yeah, okay, fine. Let me just see what happens a little bit longer. That's it. This is all we're talking about. And again, a little bit longer, we are not able to define it right now because really each essence is choosing how much of this it wants to say. And again, it's not going to last. Essences go through experiences and lessons very quickly. We don't need to see this all come to fruition in Earth years in terms of we take, into, we have new governments and whatnot. We're not rebuilding. But I think many essences are interested in seeing more of the development in terms of the actual collapse, but not in a negative, scary way necessarily, more in a way where you kind of know what comes next, meaning that you know that more of this is going to happen, and therefore at some point, basically, you would have a completely new society if we stayed here. But yeah, so we're just going to look around a little bit longer. That's all. So there has been a delay, but again, we're not talking about years. It is not quite clear how long yet. But we do recommend checking in with us again because we will have a better idea, maybe in the next month or two.
Thank you. So I know here in this game, when people are about to exit, the essences are about to leave the physical body. Very often, hours before that happens, there's a surge of energy, a new surge or enthusiasm for life. That's what this feels like right now, that we have come to that surge of new life before we exit. So leave on a positive note.
That is actually a perfect analogy. That's exactly what is happening, is that this is not changing anything. We all know what's going to happen at the end, and again, it's not that much longer, but we all of a sudden, our attention is brought back to 3D as opposed to having been gone for all these months. We've pretty much been out of here mentally and emotionally, and now all of a sudden we're focusing back on this, and it's almost like taking a last look at what you're leaving behind. And for many of us, that's actually important.
I agree.
Well, I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know what you think. I did want to mention one thing. You probably noticed that at some point during this image download, this scene that I'm being shown by the 25th, I actually asked, why would this happen, or something along those lines. And the reason for this is that I am at a point now where I am able to ask questions of myself. So even while I'm being hypnotized, I'm able to interject certain things. This ninth session obviously is very different from, if any of you have had hypnosis sessions, you will probably know that the very first times you deal with this kind of energy. So in this case for me was, I would say probably up to the third session, messages have not come through as freely as they do now. The 25th, I always joke about the fact that 25th has become a lot chattier in its answers. And that's because I become very accustomed to the energy. And there's still a lot of coughing going on. Luckily, there wasn't so much in this excerpt. But yes, normally I am basically much more in tune with, I'm much more in tune with the energy. I'm able to handle it better. That's why these sessions have become more of almost like a conversation than how it felt in the very beginning. And my first two sessions were qhht sessions with Carolyn. She's a great friend and a great practitioner, and she kind of had to pull things out of me, because many times I would see these images and I didn't want to talk. So she was very adept at pulling things out of me by asking precise questions and leading questions. And that woman has done a lot of work, as is Lorrayne. Lorrayne is also doing a lot of work. As I always say, you guys have heard me say this a million times, this is very much a team effort to get this information out to you guys. And so I hope you enjoyed this video, and please let me know if you'd like to see more of this, if you like to see more of the actual or hear more of the actual sessions. All right, well, thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.